up, guys? This is Russell Collins here with the 8-point how-to. Today we're going to be changing our oil. So what you're going to need over here is you're going to need a oil pan. You're going to need a socket and your socket set. I've already gotten mine chosen out. It's a 15 for the oil nut. You're going to need some rags to clean up any oil that you spill, a funnel to put it into the engine. Got your oil and your oil filter. Let's get started. Alright guys, so here we are under the truck. We got the truck up on 2 jack stands right now. You may or may not have to do that for your car. What we did for this purpose. We always put our e-brake on, that way the truck doesn't roll back and forth in park. So you're just going to find the oil nut. Mine's right here. Right on most American-made cars, the transmission meets the engine, and you got your oil pan and your oil nut. So just loosen that guy a little bit until it's about finger loose. And what you're going to do is position the oil pan to where it's going to shoot out pretty far because it's got a lot of weight under gravity. And just loosen it, keep it going. It'll start draining out a little bit. And once it gets to the completely loose point, it's going to shoot out like that. So we got the rags for shooting out a little bit. What I usually do is I'll let the truck cool down for a while. It's still really, really hot, as you can see the steam. But you don't want to burn your hands, so. There we are. Make sure to open any breathers you got so that way it drains in there. Nice and easy. So the oil's pretty much drained out of the oil pan itself. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your oil nut and make sure and check the rubber washer inside of it right there. So that's where most oil leaks come from. People don't really realize that it deteriorates over time. So I'm going to stick it back in there, make sure it threads nice and easily. You don't cross thread it. You'll be in a lot of trouble for that. Just put her back in, nice and finger tight. And you're going to take your socket and crank her down nice and snug, not too tight, not too loose. Let's go check out that oil filter. Alright, so I kind of already loosened the oil filter. It's usually put on there pretty tight. So you can hand loosen it off, and it's going to drip a bunch of oil, just like that. Nice and warm. You can loosen it more and more. Just make sure it doesn't fall off. Try and drain most of the oil out of it. It's got a lot of oil inside of it, so you want to be careful to bring it straight down and turn it upside down in the oil pan. It drains all the oil out. Alright, so it looks like the oil filter is done draining, or at least where it connects to the engine. You're going to take your new oil filter and you're going to take your small quart of oil. And what you want to do is you want to fill this new one up with oil so it doesn't cause the engine to dry start. Dry starting just advances the wear and tear on your engine because it's forcing the amount of oil that you put into the engine into a little small area down located at the bottom. So once you fill that with a little oil, you're going to bring it straight up. Right up on to where it threads on. Should thread on nice and easy. Again, don't cross thread it. Cause yourself a lot of problems. And once it's caught on there, it just goes on nice and easy all the way up. Once you get it about as tight as you can, make sure you can get a good grip on it and tighten her down with your hands. It's good to go. So here we are at the top of the engine now. What you're going to do is you're going to make sure and double check that your oil filter's on all the way and your oil nut is in. Otherwise, when you put oil into the engine, it's going to shoot back out onto the floor. Big ol' mess. So first we're going to take off the cap, set down our funnel. Do the big one first, and then if we need to add more, we'll add the rest of it with the little guy. So aim that over. Go ahead and start dumping her in. always check to make sure and know what type of oil you're using. They have the dealer suggested on here, the weight on it. So one on Chevy's 5W30. I choose to use a little bit different, but that's just me, so make sure to do your research as well. Go ahead and throw the rest of this little guy back in. Do about half or so. Start the engine, run it for a little bit, then we'll check the oil. Alright, so I let the truck run for a little bit, so now we're just going to check the dipstick, see where it reads, and add oil accordingly. So, locate the dipstick, pull it out, wipe it completely off, and then stick it all the way back in. One quick dip, bring it out, have a look. It's reading right in the middle, so that's perfect. So we don't need to add any more oil. So, pull it all the way back in, put your oil cap on, find out which way it goes. You're all set. So now we're going to put the oil back into the quarts, the quart holders. You can take it to any, probably auto convenience store. They can recycle the oil for you. It's just easier to get rid of, and you can't really dispose of it yourself unless you take it to a hazardous waste area. So just go ahead and pour them back into these jugs, take them in, and they'll take them in for free.
He had one where they all went out to dinner or something. He had a tape recording of the dog bark. So they walked in, the dog was barking.
Alright, so let's go see how Jeff's doing changing his oil.